Let's talk about some of the problems that come with power, the ethical problems that are associated with high power, and the ethical problems that are associated with low power. Let's start off with problems that come with having a lot of power. First of all, is the key idea that power corrupts. Somebody who normally does the right thing, when they're given power, their ethical standards may go down either intentionally or unintentionally. And often it's not visible, and people are better able to hide their unethical behavior the more power they have. Now, what are some of the reasons that power corrupts? One is that if we have power, people tend to respect us. They want to please us. They want to get on our good side. They want to kiss up to us because we have something that they want. Well, it turns out that studies indicate that people with power actually start believing that they're better than others because people tell them they're better than others, basically. They start believing all of the flattery that they receive and all the excellent treatment that they receive because people want to be on their good side, and they start believing that they're worthy of all this respect and honor that others give them. So we start believing that we're better and other people are less better. This means that we believe that we have more rights than others because we're important. We have the right to express our opinions, whereas somebody else may not. We might have the right to take institutional resources for our own use, but others might not. We need to do it because we're important, and the organization depends on us. That's why we can spend so much money on business dinners and things like that, but people below us, they shouldn't do it because they're not that important. So again, it's this idea of the self-centric and this idea of self-importance that is a sign of power corrupting. Another way that power corrupts us is that our values become oriented towards protecting and increasing our power, rather than seeking the good for others or seeking the good of the organization, seeking to accomplish the mission of the organization. Our own position becomes so valuable to us that we direct more and more of our own personal resources to protecting ourselves, our position, and our power, and less to the well-being of others or the well-being of the organization in general. Another problem with power is that we tend to devalue lower status people. Oh, I'm above them, that means I'm superior to them, and studies indicate that people with high status power tend to avoid people that they consider that are lower status. Even if they were good friends beforehand, the additional power might cause somebody to want to avoid somebody that's lower in status than them. We also develop beliefs that coercive strategies are for the good of other people. We start thinking if there's something that an employee does to disrespect us or something like that, or doesn't recognize our power, we might get upset and we think, oh, we need to teach them a lesson, and we need to teach them a lesson for their good, when really we just want to punish them for not responding to our good. And so this use of coercion is easier to justify when one has power. Once one says, well, I know what the other person needs and what the other person needs to learn, so I will use my power to punish them, which is, of course, unethical. We should be using our power for good, not for our own benefit, and especially not to hurt other people. Here's some other problems with high power. We like feeling needed, so we might act to perpetuate people's need of us, rather than empowering people so that they no longer need us, that they can go make their own decisions, so that they can better their own lives, they can maybe get better positions. We can keep people in need. We can keep key information away from them so that they remain dependent on us because we want to be needed. We want to have that power over people and refuse to share information with them. And as we've seen previously, in a relationship with the person with the least interest in maintaining the relationship has the most power. So if a person stops caring in a relationship that was once important to both parties, that person now has the power to hurt and even destroy the other person by ending the relationship. So all of these things come with high power, which can lead to hurting other people, which is exactly the opposite of what we want to do if we're ethical. But there are also problems with low power. In one sense, powerlessness corrupts also. It's not just power that corrupts, but somebody that's powerless suffers also. They suffer from depression, apathy, or giving up are closely related with powerlessness. It can lead to frustration, anger, aggression, or even violence. And it also the powerless person may try to hurt the people in power, not actively because they know they don't have the power to actively take on somebody, but through passive aggressive behavior. They might work against someone by not doing something rather than actively doing something. For example, somebody might accidentally lose track of a piece of some paper that needs to be signed, and that could work against the interest of the more powerful person, or perhaps refusing to smile when that person smiles at them. Those are examples of passive aggressive behavior where the person with low power might try to work against the interests of somebody, not by doing something, but by the lack of doing something, which is a lot more hidden. And the ultimate response of a low power relationship is to destroy the relationship, just to end the relationship, which, as from a Christian point of view, is just really bad, because the main thing that we're called to do is to love one another and to show love to others. But when one is suffering from powerless, sometimes that results in just a person taking off and leaving and ending the relationship. So there are a lot of ethical problems associated with low power, and especially with high power, because both powerlessness and power corrupts.